Ready to go.
Okay, now I said to you I hadn't got any cannons to show you, but what I do have is cannonballs. Now, this is a £9 cannonball lifted from the field of Waterloo, but essentially it's exactly the same as the weapons that would be being used during the Revolutionary War. Now, in films and television programmes, when cannonballs like this hit formed up bodies of soldiers or the side of a castle or the ground, they explode, typically. That's not actually true, because if we test it, they just bounce. Now, if this weapon is fired at a large group of soldiers, and soldiers sometimes have to go into large groups, if infantrymen are attacked by or menaced by cavalry, they will form defensive squares so that the cavalry can't attack them. Well, that's perfect targets for artillerymen. So these balls will come bouncing through the smoke, hitting 5 or 6 times before they bounce straight through your position. And at Waterloo, one regiment of Inniskillings is hit by one cannonball and loses 25 soldiers killed and wounded. Very, very effective weapons. Of course, at closer ranges, you can use these different forms of artillery, like canister, which is a big tin filled with musket balls, which shreds at the muzzle of the weapon and will spread out like a huge shotgun blast and will wipe out dozens of soldiers in one blast. Artillery is by far and away the most effective weapon on the Napoleonic and on the Revolutionary War battlefield. It's far more effective than infantry, far more effective than cavalry. You need all three arms, but it's the artillery that's going to do most of the damage. And if you get hurt, there are surgeons that you can visit, and they, of course, have very little in the way of anaesthetic, in fact, nothing, and they will operate on you while you're alive, obviously while you're alive, but while you're conscious. And they will use things like this. This is a set of 18th century forceps, which they will force into you and try and drag out either the fragments of musket ball, or the ball itself, or more importantly, of course, bits of your clothing that have been carried into the wound. Infection and disease are the biggest killers on any historical battlefield. One Revolutionary War battlefield, by the way, just to show you how damaging those weapons can be, the cannonballs, we did an archaeological dig on a revolutionary site and we discovered one casualty who had been hit by a cannonball, a smaller cannonball than that one, about a £5 one, hit him in the shoulder. Catastrophic damage to the joint, the arm was gone, his other shoulder was dislocated, both his legs were snapped in the mid-thigh and his neck was broken. He was killed. So it's very much like hitting a melon with a big sledgehammer. Very effective weapon.